we come from, why are we here, and where are we going? Sorry.
So the question is, what is faith and how does it play into this? I think, so faith is your belief. Your belief that even when things don't make sense to you, when things are difficult, when there's troubles, that you have this trust in God, that you are able to overcome these difficulties, you're able to persevere through misunderstandings until you reach your goal.
Thank you. This one is for Rabbi. If matter can never be destroyed, but can only change in nature, humanity has been part, therefore, of nature, perhaps as an atom or a neutron, since eternity, which has evolved only in form and expression. How can religion, therefore, claim we have been created?
Well, thank you very much. Well, let's see. I think, all religions come to answer a basic question. If one day we cease to exist as we know existence, what does it mean to be alive? So for the Jew, I don't think that would be much of a question, because once we are here, we have an obligation and a responsibility for doing God's will. The will is to obey the commandments as we interpret them. His will is to treat one another with mutual respect and affection where possible. And therefore, if we were atoms or atoms, whatever it happened to have been from the beginning of the time, it doesn't matter. We were from the beginning of the time, and how it came together is that creative power and aspect that has been implanted within us, so that we can look into a body and see no differences regardless of outside manifestations. That's Hayikar. That's the essential point.
Okay. Thank you. Dr. Shafi, what is your religion's view of leaving this world by suicide? How will that affect where you go next? And I don't mean martyrdom for a cause, but suicide because one doesn't want to live anymore.
In our religion, suicide is not an acceptable thing. Our health and our body is a trust from God. It is a necessity that we protect our life and protect the creation. So, in terms of the basic covenants of a religion, suicide is not permissible, it is discouraged, and as a matter of faith, in times of difficulty and in times of distress, you should help your faith to get through difficult times. In fact, it was the recommendation of our prophet to pray and to remember the God in times of trials and tribulations. And when a person leans to his faith, it makes him strong. There is an exception though. When a person is going through acute paranoid depression where he cannot discriminate between right and wrong, then he cannot be held responsible for his actions. That is a medical thing.
Thank you. Is there an afterlife, or is this it, according to your faith?
This is it. But Buddhism expounds that life is eternal. So in Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, the word myo means mystic. There are parts are aspects of life that cannot be explained so that our human minds can understand the profundity of it. So we believe that life continues forever in some form or another. Exactly what it is, there's no way to know. It really boils down to your belief of what you think is going to happen after you die. So by making the most positive causes that you can make in this life, you will create the kind of karma that leads you to experiencing the best that can be experienced in the future, whatever that looks like. On the contrary, if you choose to do things that are harmful, negative to yourself and other people, then you are creating a future existence of the same type. So in Buddhism, to try to figure out exactly what happens after we die is almost a waste of time, because our actions right now will determine what that is. So there's a saying by the founder, Nichiren: if you wish to understand the causes you made in the past, look at the effects that you're experiencing in the present. And if you wish to understand what types of effects you will experience in the future, look at the causes that you're making in the present moment. So everything is based on cause and effect, and you determine what the outcome will be.
Thank you. Ashley, that is if you're still talking to me. Smile. I just have to. Okay. It was said that only those who chose the faith would go to heaven. What happens to those people that did not know anything about your church or even Christianity, that live kind, loving lives? What happens to those that are not Mormon but who live kind, loving lives?
A good question. It is our belief that before the final judgment of each one of us, that whether you've heard the gospel or not, as you've lived in this life, that there will be a 1,000-year period of time when every person, every spirit child of God who has come to this earth and gained a body will have an opportunity of hearing the plan of God and either accepting it or saying no thank you. That is our belief.
Thank you. Okay, we have enough time for each panelist to respond to one more question. So we'll be starting with the Rabbi, and he can either answer this question that everybody will have an opportunity to answer, or clarify something you would like to clarify that you didn't have a chance to say fully, or some other point that you wanted to make. So it's your choice. And the question is, do you believe God, or the Creator, is a literal being with a physical body? How would you describe God according to your faith? And while you're at it, where did God come from?
I almost want to stand up for that one. Walk around the wandering Jew again. No to the first part, with God having literal form. What was the second part?
Who created him?
To Judaism, I can't speak for any other religion. I'm not allowed to. We cannot comprehend anything except because we work in terms of time. From a Jewish perspective, God doesn't work in time anymore. He helped us along while we were growing up intellectually and spiritually, and then, like a father, moved aside and let us make our own mistakes. Not being subject to time, the issue of who created God is a non-issue. for the Jew. Also, because we are an Oriental religion, a Semitic religion, contradictions have no real meaning for us. God knows all, and yet there's freedom of choice. Doesn't make sense. Well, when we ever go to that time of final judgment, Elijah will come along and he'll answer all the questions we have been asking for eons. There was something I think I wanted to clarify, because I really didn't speak in terms of it. For Judaism, both heaven and hell are temporary waiting places. Time out in heaven is much nicer than time out in hell. But those sent to hell, by virtue of the penitential aspect, are subject to resurrection of the body, reunited with a purified soul at the time of the final judgment. Unless they're a Hitler or somebody like that, who will receive the worst punishment in Jewish terms, non-existence. Can I close with a joke?
Sure.
Elevator going down various levels of hell. They let out a few Baptists over here, a few LDS over there, a few this over here, and they finally get down. There's some Israeli Jews. They open the elevator door and they walk out. It's paradise. The palm trees, the springs, it was just beautiful. So the doors close, and those remaining said, "What was that?" to the elevator operator. And he said, "Those darn Israelis can irrigate anything."
Thank you.